you feel that this is below your intellect and you'd rather not be a part of this discussion, please exit the room promptly and then you can not distract others who want to learn. Which one, Calvin, was it?
12.
Number 12. So, number 12. Don't you worry, I will find it. Number 12. Why it doesn't like it. Here would be the deal. No, 12, yeah, sure, why not? Problem number 12, you obviously took a piece of grid paper, yes, and did this out, Calvin?
No. How could I have done it without nobody?
Well, you could do it, but I don't know why you'd do it.
Well, I did this on my house, so I didn't get that far.
This is good paper.
You're losing me a little on it, but I mean, you can do it without that, but I don't know why you would try. I wouldn't ask you to do it. Here's the deal. The points are 0, 0. I write that down just so I know. 4, 0. 1, 2, 3, 4, 0. 4 times 0. 5, 3, which is here. 5, 1, 2, 3. And 1, 3. 1, 3. And then I would write down the formula. I suppose I would draw this. Here's your parallelogram. It just looks like this. It's like this, and then it goes up on an angle like that, and on an angle like that, and like this. What is the area of a parallelogram? The formula for the area of a parallelogram is just base times height. You need to find two lines that are perpendicular in order to do this problem, and they're not given to you, but you can draw one that is. That's why you do it on grid paper. See this line? The line that goes straight up from there would just be this line right here. How tall is that line? The height of this is 1, 2, 3. What's the base from here to here? Well, it went from 0 to what, 4? 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's 3 times 4, which is 12 units squared. Shabam. Confused and dazed? Maybe not. If I get to it, this will be found on www.justconfusing.com if you want to review it again tonight. If I don't forget to do it. Eli?
Number 11, I don't understand.
Perfect. And then this is what I write on your note paper, people. Area of a trapezoid is 1/2 base 1 plus base 2 times height. Let's try to get a little bigger. Every time I do this, though, it messes up. You have that formula, you can't really go wrong. The two bases, ladies and or gentlemen, those are the parallel lines. And the height is perpendicular to those bases. So you don't need the 10-inch measurement there, you just need these three here. Area is 1/2 of 22 plus 14. Those do need to be in parentheses, by the way, times 8. Stop me there if that doesn't make sense to you. 22 and 14 is 36, and you're taking half of 36, or half of whatever order you want to do this. Because of the commutative property, or even the associative property, you can do this in any order. Half of 8 is 4, and 4 times 36 is what? 144. Area of that is 144 inches squared. Do you have this written down? See, I don't know how anybody could get these wrong on tomorrow's test. It's going to be the same exact shape, just different numbers, and if you have those formulas. Sammy Espanol. Gosh, I was hoping I'd get to flip between pages on every one of these. Number 4. A coin is flipped 4 times, the probability of getting a heads 4 times. Again, see, you get these wrong, I look at this as a great learning opportunity for you because these are not that hard. First thing I'd write down is the little thing we do in math when we talk probability. I want the probability of doing what? Flipping ahead 4 times in a row. That's what that little P means, probability. In the parentheses is your desired outcome. Okay, and the answer to this is simply whatever the probability of each event is multiplied by every other event. So what's your probability of flipping one head? If you flip a coin, what's your probability of getting a head? 1 out of 2, right? So to do that again would be another 1 out of half, 1, 2, 1 out of 2, another 1 out of 2, another 1 out of 2. Probability of all those happening, ignore that, is those all multiplied together. 1 times 1 times 1 times 1 is 1. 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 is 16. 1 out of 16 times, if you flip a coin 4 times, you should get all heads back to back to back. Plus it looks all efficient. What would be the probability of flipping a head, then a tail, then a head, then a tail? 1/16. What would be the probability of flipping 3 heads and then a tail? Now it'd be different if you didn't have to have it in that order and you said what's the probability of flipping 2 heads and 2 tails. There's a whole bunch of different things because this is in this order. There's a whole bunch of different combinations. This is the only way you can make a combination of 4 heads. But if I said 2 heads, 2 tails, these could all be different combinations because you could have 2 heads here or 2 heads there. But for this right now, that works there. Ev.
Number 5.
Oh gosh, I was hoping somebody would ask for number 5. What is number 5? What is the lateral surface area? I told you this. I told you lateral surface area, children, is the surface area, the total surface area minus the bases. In other words, really you're just finding the surface area of the sides. Now on this one there's a little formula, but for this one I don't think I'm going to give it to you because it's just too easy to do it the regular way. Here we go. See if this works. Okay. You are just going to, first of all, what's the base? The loaf of bread theory says that the base is what shape? The triangle. If this is a loaf of bread, you're going to cut it, it's always going to be triangle. So you're not finding the area of the triangle, you're just finding the area of this side, this other side over here, which is probably the same that you can't see, and then this bottom side. So you've got 3 rectangles you're doing. The right side, how'd they get so big? The right side, the left side, and the bottom. Well, what is the area of this rectangle here? 6 times 8, which is what? Thank you, 48. Area of the other side, that's that same exact rectangle, 6 times 8, 48. And then the area of the bottom, 3 times 8 is 24. Lateral surface area is, I don't know let's do that, 96 plus 24 is 0.22820 centimeters squared. Okay, I'll give you the formula for lateral surface area if you really want it.
Yeah.
The formula is this. It's the perimeter of the base, perimeter of base, that's important, times the height. Perimeter of the base times the height. What did we say the base was, Sandy? It was a, what shape? Triangle. So here's my triangle. What's the perimeter of this triangle? 6 plus 6 plus 3, what is that? 15. And what is the height of the shape? If you set it on its base, it is 8 high. If you do 15 times 8, you get 120. But in this case here, I would probably just look at it and do all the sides of the shape there. Is that exciting, Kelsey? G. Ronning. Did I already say the formula for 7? What is 7? I can't even read this, by the way. The height of a pyramid with a square base is 4 feet. What is the volume of the pyramid? We will learn something new today. Listen carefully to this, kids. This will excite you. I thought I even did this as a little show and tell you last year. When you think pyramids, children, when you think pyramids, you should think of 1/3. A pyramid is 1/3, the volume of a pyramid is 1/3 the volume if it were an actual rectangular solid, or a prism, I should say. And I am finding that right here. This won't work. There's not even a hole in this thing. How about this? This. Watch. I did this for you last year. Here's the rectangular solid. This is the prism. This is the pyramid. Exactly 3 of these to fill this up. Well, it won't take long. Now, it's not going to be exactly because of the width of the plastic that it takes to fill this thing. So if that's the case, just trust me a minute. If that's the case, what you have to do is find the volume of this. And the volume of a prism is a rectangular prism is easy because it's just length times width times height. The volume of this thing is 6 times 6 times how tall did it say it was? 4. So the volume of the whole thing, of the prism, is 6 times 6 times 4, which is 36 times 4, which is 144. But this is a pyramid, which means it's only 1/3 of that, so you divide that by 3, it would be what, 48 feet cubed. You probably could have saved yourself some time if you would have wrote this down. Oh, why it's not working? 6 times 6 times, what did I say? 4. All divided by 3. You can just divide 3 into 6 and get 2. 2 times 4 times 6 is 48. See, you did learn something. We should have learned this way back in whatever lesson that was. What was that? What did that say?
86.
We've been doing that. We're already on 91. We should have did that years ago. We did it last year, just so you know. Villman.
Number 10.
Is that on this page? Is that on this page? On top? I think I'm going to reshrink this down because I can't see it. Oh, I love this one. Somebody fill me in on this. Show me that you have some knowledge of this. First of all, x plus y equals 6 is what? A what? What type of an equation is this, Calvin?
Isn't it a standard?
Well, yeah, it's a linear equation, but it is the standard form of a linear equation. Which means, Ariel, you have to graph this, by the way, to find the answer. You have to take a graph and see where the lines cross. How do I graph those lines? What am I looking for? Christine, how do I graph standard forms of linear equations? I graph them by finding what? X and Y, long word that comes after that, the X, Y. Starts with an inter, ends with a seps. Intercepts. Yeah, not interception. And it's really easy, Ariel. Look, you just have to think about putting zeros in for the numbers and see what you get for the other ones. If I put 0 in for x, what does y equal? 6. So here on the y-axis at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I put a dot, because that's where it intercepts the y-axis. I put a 0 in for y, x equals 6. That's the x-intercept. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's the first line. This line is this right here. Halfway home. This is where you have to be careful, and this is where I would make a note to myself. Let's start with the easy one first. If I put 0 in for x, y equals 2, correct? So this next line crosses the y-axis at 2. If I put 0 in for y, here's where you have to watch out. You get negative x equals 2. X doesn't equal 2, but x equals a negative 2. So here at negative 1, negative 2, there's a line. Then you draw your line, and what they're looking for is this answer right here. Now, I don't have a nice piece of graph paper to do it on, but you do. If I were a guessing man, based on the accuracy of me freehanding all this, it looks like this point is 2, comma 1, 2, 3, 4. And that is the answer that solves both of those. Did I get that right? Is it 2, 4?
Yeah, it's 3.
What? There was 3?
No, it's 2. Yeah, it's 2.
It's 2, 4. That's pretty relatively close. Does that help, Ariel? Luke? I'm guessing that's on the other page because I just like flipping back and forth. Top of the other page? Yeah. Like right here? Oh, the bag of marbles. A bag contains 4, by the way, that's much clearer as you get back, isn't it? A bag contains 4 red marbles, 3 blue marbles, and 2 yellow marbles, and 1 green marble. 2 marbles are drawn from the bag one at a time without replacement. What's the probability of drawing 2 blue? Luke, did you draw the bag and the marbles? Good. We've made some headway. So here's what I will do if I was you. We've got what? 4 reds. Did you do little R's for red, Alexa?
Yes.
Nice. Did you do 2, how many blues? 3 blues. Did you do 2 yellows?
Yes.
And 1 green?
Yes.
And then did you do this? Do you want probability? Do you put the capital P in a parenthesis? Of drawing 2 blue marbles. Blue and then blue. And the next thing, 8th grade, you have to look for is, do you draw it and then put the marble back, or do you draw it and leave that marble out the next time? And this says we're not replacing it, so that's going to change your probabilities. So, but the first one's going to be the same. How many blue marbles? 3 out of how many total marbles? Was there 10?
10.
Okay, that's my first probability. But see, I take that blue marble out. It's no longer in there for the second draw. So now what's my probability for the second one? How many blue marbles? 2. And there's only 9 marbles left in the bag. So like we talked about before, the probability of both of those happening is the probability of those multiplied together. Feel free to cross cancel or not. In the end, you'll have to reduce. You get 6 over 90. 3 goes into both of those. What? 2 over 45. Did I do something wrong? That's 6 over 90. Was that the answer? What did I do wrong? Divide by 3. I'm sorry. It's 6 over 30. Or 2 over 30, which is 1/15. That's it. Yeah, cross cancel. If you did this, it'd be 1. This would be 5. This would be 1. That'd be 3. 1/15. I just divided it wrong. Nick, do you have a question? Jacob.
Number 16.
I'm guessing that's on the other page because I really like to go back and forth. This is it?
Yeah.
The area of a square is 25 square units. How many units is the diagonal of the square? So, the area of this is what? 25. So each side would have to be what, Jacob? I'm guessing we all got this.
5.
5, 5, 5, 5. And the question is, how long is this from here to here, children? Somebody help me out here. Do I just guess and say, oh, it looks like it's about 7? Okay. Christine, you'd have to do what?
A square plus b squared.
Right. This is a right triangle. That is its hypotenuse. You hope that this is a triple. Is there a 5-5 triple? No. And then you say rats, because now I actually have to do the Pythagorean theorem out. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. C is always the hypotenuse, so 5 squared plus 5 squared equals c squared. 25 plus 25 is c squared. 50 is c squared, and then here's kind of where people go wrong. If c squared is 50, what is c? Square root of 50, but that's not good enough either because the square root of 50 can be broken simplified. You need to prime factorize it. If you do that, it's the square root of 5 times the square root of 10. Square root of 10 is the square root of 2 times the square root of 5. 2 square roots of 5 give you a normal 5. Square root of 2 has no friends. It stays the square root of 2. That's the length of that side. Looky there. Ariel Woman. 20 to 2 0. I'm guessing that's down here and over to the right. Or up here somewhere. Or not. Down here and down. This was like the corn maze. Yeah. This is multiplication, so what do you have to do? Multiply. And you can only multiply the normal numbers times the normal numbers, and the square roots times the square roots. 5 times 10 is 50. This could be your answer, but just like that last one, you can simplify the square root of 50. And it really simplifies what do we get for the last one we squared simplified? We got what? 5 times the square root of 2, right? This becomes 5 times the square root of 2, and then this 6 and this 5 have to get multiplied together because they're both normal numbers. 30 square roots of 2. Sammy? No, not 19. You're just putting together exponents. What happens when you put them together? You add them together. What is this, a negative 2?
Yeah.
X to the negative 2 and an x to the third. You add negative 2 and 3 together, you just get a 1. And here you have y to the third and y to the 0. Add 3 plus 0, you get 3. You could have crossed the y to the 0 out. Why? Because anything to the 0 power is 1. And that really means that goes away. Because 1 times anything is itself. But you still get y to the third. Okay. Jacob.
So for that problem, is it alright if I put x to the first power?
It is okay, but it's not really common practice. Luke. Did we do 17 already?
No.
What's your question on this, Alexa? What did you do first? Walk me through here. What do I got to do? Yep, and then next. You want to get the letter x by itself, so the first thing you get rid of is negative. Last thing you do is separate these two things because they're really close and friendly with each other. Alexa, would it help if you rewrote it like this? 0.2x plus 0.05 equals 0.11, because you can rearrange those terms because of the commutative property. What should you get rid of first? Yes, you always get rid of the thing that doesn't have the x in it. You do the opposite, you subtract 0.05. Subtracting 0.05 gives me 0.06. And now I have 0.2x equals that. How do I get rid of the thing in front of the x? Always last step divide. So divide by 0.2. And I suppose people probably ran aground there, but if you write that out, 0.2 divided into 0.06, you move the decimal 1 place here to get rid of it, decimal 1 place there, 2 goes into 6.3 times. Is there an easier way to do this? Oh. Not yet, but there is. And since we got a little bit of time, I'll tell you what that is.
Yes.
With equations, people, you can either multiply or divide everything by the same thing as long as you do every term. So if you're not a fan of decimals, here's what you can do. You can change this equation. If I wanted to get rid of the decimals in all of them, I would multiply everything by 100. Or just think of it this way, move the decimal 2 places to the right. Moving the decimal 2 places to the right, this becomes a 20x. 2 places to the right, that becomes a 5. 2 places to the right, that becomes an 11. Same equation, it's just going to not have any decimals except till the end. You'll get a fraction, but since this was in decimal form, you should give your answer in decimal form. Subtract 5. Subtract 5. You end up with 20x equaling 6. You're going to divide by 20, and believe it or not, 6 over 20 is the same exact thing as 0.3. Because you're going to cut this in half, you get 3/10, and that's what this is 3/10. And if you would have cried to me, I'd have said yes, I'll give it to you, but since it was in decimal form, the answer should be in decimal form. Just makes it a lot easier to work with. Smith? Oh, is that on this page?
Jeez.
Is that on this page? Is it way at the front? On top? What? Right there. A small town occupies a rectangle of land as shown. Express the area of the town in scientific notation. How do you find the area, Alyssa? You've got a rectangle. What's the area of a rectangle? Alyssa, if I have this, if this rectangle is 2 by 4, how do you find its area? Multiply. So you're just going to multiply this times this. What is that? 4 times 10 to the what? 6. You're multiplying that by 3 times 10 to the 6. How do I multiply those together? You multiply the 4 times the 3, that's 12, times 10. What do I do when I multiply 10 to the 6 times 10 to the 6? Add exponents. And look, you get 12 times 10 to the 12th, which is not the answer. Why?
It's
Not in scientific notation. You need to take the decimal that's here, move it 1 place, because this number has to be between 1 and 10 and make it 1.2. But if you change the decimal, this exponent's going to change, and what should you think? They balance out. If you make this smaller, this has to become bigger. This went from 12 to 1.2. You move the decimal 1 place, so you can add it in there and make it 10 to the 13th power. Squared. That is what? Squared. Oh, sorry, and the label. M2. You should check to see where we're at. Wow, none of those. Sales tax, open in 0.05. Sequences, you got that right?
No, this one's right.
Problem number 8. Which of the following equations is a rule for this sequence? People, the thing you have to remember with sequences is the letter n is the number of the term. Okay? And then the next thing you need to do is look at what do you do between terms. To go from 6 to 11, 11 to 16, and 16 to 25, what's happening every time? Okay, you are adding 5. Does that make sense? So, your first term, you put a 1 in for n, my first term should end up being 6. Is 1 plus 5 6? Yeah, so that works there. My second term is 11. Is 2 plus 5 11? No. So I need to try this one. If I put a 1 here, 5 times 1 plus 1, 6? Yes. 5 times 2 plus 1, 11? 5 times 3 plus 1, 16? Yes. So this, by trial and error, is your answer. Remember, n is the number of the term you're looking at. And if you plug it into those things, union of prime numbers in the set of composite numbers, everybody's good with that one?
Yeah.
Union means you're putting them both together. It's not intersection. Intersection means what they have in common. Union. What else did we do on this one? Parallelogram dilated by a scale factor of 2.
Yep.
5/9 is a percent. The decimal. By the way, ninths should be easy for you children because ninths are always whatever number's on top of it repeating decimal. 7/9 is 0.7 repeater. 5/9 is 0.5 repeater. And the same thing is its percent. What is the percent of 7/9? 77 7/9%. 4/9 is what percent? 44 4/9%. Now you have to be careful when they tell you to round it to 3 decimal places, because then you actually have to write it out. Like what's 4/9? 3 decimal places? You'd have to go 0.4444, go to 4 decimal places. Do you round that 4 up or does it stay the same? It stays the same. Christine!
For number 10, if you don't graph it, leave it
Yes. Just because that's how you need to do it. Did you just guess for the numbers?
just do what plus 1 equals 6.
That would be just guessing. I mean, you did trial and error, but you should have to. You have to be able to do this. This is not that complicated or difficult. Any more kids while I'm standing up here? Nobody? Wait. Tell me we got number 15 right? After last year and all the debacle that we went through, all that?
Yes.
Yeah. Wait, what was it?
Architect creating a plan. You got number 1 right?
Yeah.
Sales tax.
Yes.
Okay, squares.